Commander Elena Maris felt a cold weight in her chest as she stepped onto the bridge of the flagship Horizon, the main ship of the human fleet. She held her breath and stared at the giant holoscreen that filled the front wall of the bridge. The screen glowed with the symbol of the Galactic Council, a circle of lights that spun slowly around a black star. Elena's heart pounded as the Council's voice echoed through the bridge speakers. "Humans," the voice said, flat and hard. "You have grown too strong. You threaten the balance of the galaxy. Evacuate all worlds under human rule within 7 standard cycles, or face destruction." Elena's grip tightened on the rail in front of her chair. She felt anger rise, but she swallowed it down to keep her voice steady when the bridge crew turned to her. "Ma'am," said Lieutenant Jiro, the communications officer, a young man. With steady eyes, "They have sent the decree to every colony. They know our every star system." Elena nodded, her mind racing. She cleared her throat and spoke in a firm voice. "Open all channels to the evac fleet. Send the order now. Every ship, every station must run." Below them, the human convoy waited in orbit around a blue world called Terra Nova. Hundreds of supply ships, transports, and rescue vessels formed a ring around the planet. Elena knew they carried the hope of billions of people. She turned from the holoscreen and looked at her officers. "We have 7 cycles. Then they fire. We move fast." The navigator, a tall woman named Asha, tapped her console. "Commander, the fastest jump gate is 10 light hours out. We can reach it in 3 cycles if we push the engines hard." Elena closed her eyes for a moment. She could feel the weight of every life in the fleet. "All right," she said. "We push now. Send a team to wake the ship captains. Tell them to lower shields and prepare to move out as soon as we give the order." A beep sounded as Jiro sent the message. The bridge lights dimmed as red alerts flashed. Elena felt the sound of thousands of engines humming through the hull. She walked past the officers and stood by the viewport. She watched the convoy shine like fireflies in the dark space. In the distance, she saw alien dreadnoughts appear, ships from the Council fleet. They moved in silent formation. 3 massive vessels, each as big as a small moon. Elena's voice was quiet but clear. "They are here." A gunner on the bridge, Sergeant Malik, checked his targeting array. "They are within weapons range, ma'am. They will open fire any second." Elena felt her chest tighten. She forced herself to stay calm. "Give them a moment." She walked back to her chair and sat. She pressed a button on her console and opened a secure channel to Council Command. "This is Commander Maris of the Horizon," she said. "Why do you do this? We have stood with you for centuries." There was no answer for a long moment. Then the same cold voice returned. "You grew too far. You seek to change the Council's laws. That we cannot allow." Elena felt anger flood her mind. She forced the words out. "You have lost your way. The galaxy was safer with humans as an ally. You know this will bring ruin for all." Again, silence. Then the voice said, "Evasive maneuvers would be unwise. You have 7 cycles." The channel closed. Elena pressed her hand to the console. In front of her, she looked at the flight map showing the jump gates. She could feel the sweat on her brow. She glanced at Asha. "Asha, begin the jump sequence." "Full power." Asha bowed and typed commands. Lights flashed on the map as the Horizon prepared to slip free of normal space. Elena turned to Jiro. "Send one last message to every colony. Trust in your fleet. Stay on course. End transmission." Jiro nodded and tapped the key. "Done." An alarm sounded. The guns on the Council dreadnoughts fired bright blue beams of energy. The first shot struck a small escort ship, turning it to fragments. Elena clenched her fists. She looked at the viewport just as the Horizon's engines flared. Blue light bathed the bridge as the ship slipped into the subspace field. The Council ships fired again but missed. The Horizon rushed forward. Elena whispered, "We will live," below. The bridge, crew members cheered. Her voice came calm over the speakers. "All ships, follow us through the gate. Hold formation. Do not break. The viewport shifted to show the giant ring of the jump gate. It glowed with pale light. Ships moved into its maw behind them. Council beams swept empty space. Elena felt hope and fear swirl in her chest. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She could not see the galaxy she left behind. She could not know the cost of this escape. But she knew she could not give in. Elena Maris opened her eyes and looked at the gate. She reached out and pressed her palm against the holoscreen. The light from the gate pulsed. The flagship shuddered. Then everything turned white as they made the jump. And in that flash, she felt a promise grow in her heart. She would return, she would fight, and she would make the Council regret their betrayal. The horizon slipped out of the jump gate and into the cold void. The human convoy following close behind, they moved in a tight line. Cargo ships and transports marking a bright trail against the dark. Elena Maris watched the stars shift through the viewport, her face set with determination. Council dreadnoughts lay waiting beyond the asteroid belt, 3 massive warships that blocked the main path. Their engines glowed with power as they formed a solid wall. Elena felt her pulse quicken, but she kept her voice steady when she spoke. "Prepare for battle stations," she ordered. "Keep formation and stay calm." Her officers obeyed without hesitation. The gun decks hum with energy as gunners checked their targeting arrays. Below deck, engineers fed fuel into the reactors. Every hand working in sync. The convoy moved through the asteroid field. Rocks of ice and metal spinning around them. Elena had hoped the wrecks would hide them. But the Council ships deployed sensor drones that swept through the belt like flying eyes. One of the cargo ships shuddered as a drone beam scraped its hull. Sparks flew from the side. Lieutenant Giro frowned at his console. "They are mapping our course, ma'am." "The drones are locking on." Elena clenched her fist. She knew they could not outrun the dreadnoughts in straight space. But she had a plan. She tapped her comlink. "All ships, change course 5 degrees starboard. Move into the denser field where asteroids cluster. We will use the rocks as cover." The convoy shifted. Small transports brushing past larger vessels like minnows beside whales. The horizon led the way, weaving through twisting tunnels of stone. The dreadnoughts fired, their blue beams carving craters into the asteroids, ricocheting debris in every direction. On the forward deck, Sergeant Malik shouted, "Shields holding at 50%. We can't take many hits." Elena turned away from the blasts. She looked at navigator Asha. "Find us a hiding spot," she said. Asha scanned the map. "There's a hollow moon ahead, once a mining site. It has tunnels deep inside. We could lose their sensors there." Elena nodded. "Bring us in," she said. The horizon dipped toward the moon's dark side. Its engines quieted to avoid detection. The convoy followed, ships slipping into the moon's shadow. Inside, the tunnels were narrow and winding, the walls scarred by old drills. Elena walked the corridor beside the bulkhead, listening to the hum of ships around her. She felt a moment's relief as the Council beams passed overhead without finding them. But the calm did not last. A warning klaxon blared. One of the transports had hit a pressure seal. Air hissed out in a violent hiss. Elena ran to the com panel. "Which ship?" she asked urgently. Asha replied, "The Lysandra. They lost hull integrity in Section C." Elena winced. She tapped the line. "Lysandra, this is the horizon. Report." "Your status," a shaky voice answered. "We have 20 crew and 50 passengers. We can't seal the breach. We need help." Elena sprinted back to the airlock. She turned to Malik. "Bring a damage team." "We are going in," he saluted, and a group of engineers followed Elena into the tunnels. They reached the Lysandra's docking arm, its hull streaked with molten scars. Elena felt heat on her face as she stepped inside. Engineers rushed to seal the rupture, welding plates over the gash. Behind her, a low rumble shook the corridor. Dust fell from the ceiling. Elena hit the wall as the ground trembled. In the distance, she heard a deep, mechanical howl. The Council had sent a boarding pod. She drew her sidearm and moved with the team toward the loading bay. Engineers coughed from dust as they worked. Elena bared her teeth in a fierce grin. "This will not break us," she muttered. Moments later, the pod burst through the roof, metal shards spraying everywhere. Soldiers in council armor rappelled down, weapons raised. Elena and her team dove for cover. A firefight erupted in the fire rappelled down. Narrow space, council boots pounding the metal floor. Elena rolled and fired, her shot hitting the trooper's leg. He fell with a cry. Officers on the horizon slipped inside to back her up. Lieutenant Jiro appeared at the tunnel mouth, a plasma rifle in his hands. He called out, "We have the breach sealed. Evacuate the Lysandra crew now." Elena nodded and shouted, "Fall back! Protect the civilians!" The engineers shepherded terrified families toward the airlock. Elena covered their retreat. Her heart thrummed with fear and pride. Once the last civilian boarded, Elena and her officers dove into the horizon's corridor, sealing the hatch behind them just as the council troopers smashed through. The ship shook as a beam hit the outer door, but the lock held. Elena pressed her back against the wall and caught her breath. She looked at her team, smudged and wounded, but alive. "Good work," she said, her voice steady. "Prepare to move. We leave this moon in 2 minutes." Back on the bridge, Elena raised her hand. "All ships, form up, set course for the Nebula Gate." Asha plotted a new path. "It will slow them down, Commander. Their sensors fail in the gas clouds." Elena watched the convoy align, engines flaring. "Then we go," she said quietly. The horizon led the way out of the tunnels, through the broken airlock and back into space. Dust swirled around the viewport as the convoy slipped away, leaving the wounded moon behind. Above, the council dreadnought searched in vain. Below, the human fleet breathed as one. Elena Maris stood at the rail, eyes on the distant nebula. She whispered, "We will fight." Captain Elena Maris led the team down to the scorched surface of the moon they called Ashfall. Black dust covered everything, and the sky glowed with a dim red light. The team moved in single file, their boots kicking up soot as they followed the old landing path. Elena's heart beat fast with hope and fear. They had fled the council's attack, but now they searched for answers. This moon had been a research base centuries ago. Legends said the council used it to test strange experiments. Elena wondered if beneath the ashes they would find proof of their betrayal. Lieutenant Jiro scanned the readings on his handheld sensor. He pointed to a half-buried building ahead. Metal walls lay twisted and dark. The council's emblem was still faintly visible. Elena said softly, "This is it." She pushed open the heavy door. Dust and heat rushed out like a sigh. The corridor inside was wide and empty. Ancient chairs lay tipped over, and cables hung from the walls. Navigator Asha studied a broken console. She wiped the dust with her glove. Her eyes widened. "Commander, this is a data hub," she said. Elena felt hope rise again. They had to get in quickly. Engineers set up a power pack by the console. They patched cables and sparked lights to life. Faint hums told them the system still worked. Lieutenant Jiro inserted a data drive. The console blinked. Then messages appeared. The logs were old, but clear. They told of a secret project called Unity Drive. It showed that humans had found a way to link starships into one strong field. This link could speed travel and heal ships faster. The council feared it. Elena read a line aloud. "The Unity link could give humans too much power. Must stop it." Her voice trembled. She looked at Asha. "They shut down this base to hide it." Asha nodded. Lieutenant Malik found a cell deeper in the ruins. He jerked his head toward a locked door. They broke the lock and stepped inside. The room was small, with a single table and holopad. A woman's face flickered on the holoscreen. "Commander Elena Maris," the face said. "If you are seeing this, we have failed." Elena felt a chill. The woman looked tired, her uniform marked with the council seal. "I am Dr. Eunice Sorrell. I led Unity Drive research. The council ordered me to destroy the project and kill the records. I refused. They sealed this lab and left me here. Elena's breath caught. Dr. Sorrell's eyes were sad. She continued. They feared our Unity tech more than open war. They said balance must hold. They called humans a threat. Elena clenched her fists. The logs ended. Silence filled the room. Elena turned to her team. We know now, she said. They betrayed us because of Unity Drive. They carried the data drive back to the surface. Outside, the red sky felt cold. Ash lay thick on their suits. Elena stared at the horizon. She knew this secret would change everything. They would share the Unity tech with the fleet and show the galaxy a new path. Lieutenant Jiro whispered. Commander, their ships will come soon. We must leave. Elena nodded. She held the data drive tight. Her eyes shone with resolve. They reached the shuttle under a sky of dying red. The engines roared to life. Elena watched the ruins fade below. Ashfall held the proof of Council lies as the shuttle rose. Elena whispered to the wind, we will fight with unity, and our light will shine. They cannot bury the truth again. The horizon drifted in silent space under a violet sky of distant stars. Commander Elena Maris stood on the aft deck, staring at the small moon below. It was a hidden world called Kalis. Once a trading hub, now lost to time, she felt the weight of the data drives in her hand, proof of the Council's secret tests. She knew she needed an ally to share this truth. Asha joined her, voice low. Our contact is ready, Commander. His ship awaits in orbit. Elena nodded, her mind racing with doubt. He is an exiled diplomat. We do not know if we can trust him. They followed the narrow docking tube into a dark corridor. The walls glowed with soft blue light, an old design from a forgotten era. At the end stood a tall figure draped in a gray cloak. This way, the figure said in a calm, even tone. Elena recognized his badge of office, Tarek, once a member of the Council's inner circle. He guided them to a small lounge filled with flickering holodecks and ancient art. Tarek folded back his hood, revealing green eyes that shone like polished stones. Commander Maris, he said, voice smooth. I am honored by your visit. Elena bowed her head slightly. Thank you for meeting us. We have little time. Tarek motioned to a table, and they sat. The air smelled of exotic spice. He studied the data drives in her hand. You carry the proof of the stellar bond tests, he said. I believe the Council would never go so far. Elena's voice was firm. They feared our unity. They called it dangerous. Now they hunt us across the stars. Tarek closed his eyes, a shadow crossing his face. The Council believes that no member race must grow too powerful. My only crime was warning the Assembly of their plans. Asha leaned forward. Why help? US now? What do you want in return? Tarek smiled, but his eyes were hard. I share your goal. The galaxy needs humans strong. I ask only for a place at the new council you will form. Elena studied him. Memory of lost friends and broken promises filling her mind. She weighed his words like metal in her palm. At that moment, the lights flickered. A guard stepped into the room, panic on her face. Sir, sensors detect council drones near the planet. They mapped the surface, she said. Elena rose, heart pounding. They know we are here. Tarek, will you keep us safe? Tarek waved a hand, and a hidden door slid open, revealing a holofield. He tapped a control, and the field shimmered around the horizon's hull. Tarek explained. This cloak will hide your ships. It drains power, so use it sparingly. Elena nodded and turned to Asha. Prepare to engage the cloak on all vessels. Plot a new course to the next relay. Asha typed commands. Lights blinked on her console. Tarek left the lounge, returning with 2 small cases bound by metal clasps. He set them on the table. Inside are subspace scramblers. They block enemy scanners. Take them, he said. Elena opened a case and lifted the device. It was small as a fist, yet hummed with energy. She felt a spark of hope. We will need more than that, she said quietly. Tarek leaned back. I control a fleet of Smugglers and merchants. They owe me favors. I can gather them to our cause, but they will expect payment, he said. Elena met his gaze. What will you ask? He shrugged. A share of the Unity Drive patents when we rebuild. I want the right to vote on its use, Elena frowned. But, patents belong to all of humanity. We cannot give ownership to one faction, she said firmly. Tarek held up a hand. Then trust me to act in your interests. We must move quickly, he said. Below deck, the Horizon's engines hummed like low. Thunder, a shot called overcome. Cloak engaged. Fleet is hidden. But we will have only 8 minutes before the power drains. Elena stood, decision heavy on her shoulders. She looked at Tarek and nodded. We accept your aid. But any betrayal, and I will hunt you down myself, she said. Tarek's smile returned, softer this time. Understood, Commander, he said, outside the window. Distant drones swept past with blue lights, unaware of the hidden fleet. Elena felt fear and relief mix in her chest. She turned to leave, but paused. Tarek, will you join our council when this is done? She asked. He met her gaze, distance in his eyes. If you prove worthy, he said. Elena gave a small nod. They walked back through the corridor as the cloak folded like mist around the horizon. In the hangar bay, small merchant ships revved there. Engines, crews waiting anxiously, weapons racks swung open, supplies were loaded. Elena climbed into the cockpit of her shuttle. Asha joined her, hands flying over the controls. The shuttle lifted off, engines glowing. Elena looked at the convoy. Slipping away, each ship hidden by Tarek's cloak. She whispered, all eyes in the dark. Below, the violet moon receded as the horizon led its fleet toward the open void. In every heart, a new alliance was born, fragile as mist, but strong as steel in purpose, and the galaxy waited for the storm they would bring. Elena Maris watched the stars move past the viewport as the horizon led its fleet toward the next jump gate. The ship engines hummed with steady power, and the convoy held tight formation. Elena felt relief at their narrow escape, but also a chill of unease. She did not trust this calm. Below deck, engineers checked reactors and hull thrusters, ensuring no damage was left unseen. Above them, the crew moved with purpose, but Elena knew danger could hide anywhere. A red alert flashed on the comm panel, jolting Elena from her thoughts. Lieutenant Jiro hurried to her side, his face pale. Commander, I am receiving an unusual command from our own system, he said. The weapons bay doors are opening on 10 of our convoy ships, he added quietly. Elena's heart pounded, and she turned to the tactical officer, Sergeant Malik. Malik, what is happening? She asked, voice firm. Malik scanned his console, eyes widening. Ma'am, the order is coming from an internal source, he warned. The control stamp matches our flagship code, he said, disbelief in his tone. Panic rose among the bridge crew as they watched cargo ships lower their shields. Those ships were vulnerable, and any enemy could now fire on them. Elena clenched her fists. Stop the doors. Engage manual override, she ordered. The doors slowed but did not fully close. Sparks flying around the console. Jiro tapped the secure channel. Commander, I see unauthorized access logs, he said. Someone used a stolen key code. The same code opened our secure vault earlier, he added. Elena frowned. Her mind raced. Who could do this? Someone aboard our ship, she said. She looked around the bridge, seeing the faces of her officers filled with shock. She turned to Hasha. Plot an emergency retreat vector. We need space to fix this, she said. Asha nodded and set course away. From the convoy, the horizon pulling left, the convoy mirrored the move but looked tense, shields flickering in and out. Energy readings spiked as the weapons bay doors ground closed at last. Elena took a deep breath. Find our traitor, she said, voice low but strong. Jiro typed commands, scanning logs and crew records, fingers moving fast. Malik secured weapons and readied security teams to search each deck. Alina watched as the ship trembled with the weight of betrayal. Minutes passed, long and silent. As the bridge crew hunted for clues, Jiro announced, "Commander, I have a match, Lieutenant Farron." Her console sent the code. He said. Elena's eyes narrowed. She did not expect the young engineer's name. Farron had served under Elena for years, always polite and quiet. Elena turned her chair and spoke to the officer. "Lock down all stations," she said. "Send security to Deck 7, Section B. Find Lieutenant Farron now," she ordered. Jiro nodded and tapped the panel. Sending orders ship-wide. Seconds later, footsteps echoed in the corridor outside the bridge. The bridge shook as a council energy beam struck a nearby convoy vessel. Elena winced at the explosion's light through the viewport, hearts a-drum. "It is a trap," she whispered. "The council knew we had a traitor," she said. Her voice was steady but fierce. Refusing to break, security teams stormed the corridor. Rounding the corner with rifles raised, they found Lieutenant Farron standing by a maintenance hatch, eyes wide, hands above your head. One guard called, voice hard. Farron raised trembling arms, blue light shining on her face. Elena left her chair and walked toward the hatch. Footsteps echoing. She reached the corridor just as Farron whispered. "I had no choice," she said. Elena's heart twisted. She stayed calm. "Tell me why," she said softly. Farron's lips shook. "They threatened my family on Nova Prime," she admitted. Elena felt anger and sympathy mix. Betrayal tasted bitter. She looked at Farron's wide eyes, seeing fear more than guilt. "We could have protected your family," she said, voice soft. Farron's shoulders sagged, tears bright on her cheeks. Suddenly, alarms blared another code breach, this time at life support. The room grew cold as oxygen levels dropped. Crew gasped for breath. Elena knew there was more to uncover. "Jiro, can you stop it?" she asked. Jiro's fingers flew over the console. "I need time," he said, brow furrowed. Elena turned back to Farron. "Stay here and face the council when we return," she said. "But now help us tell me who else is involved," she said. Farron looked at her shoes, voice broken. It was Council Agent Vos aboard the starboard hull. She said. Elena's heart sank. She recognized the name of a trusted inspector. Elena grabbed her link. "Lock down Agent Vos's quarters." She ordered, "Security teams, move to starboard hull Section C," she said. Guards sprinted away. Leaving Elena and Farron alone, Elena took a deep breath. "Thank you for telling me the truth," she said. She looked at the viewport. Seeing the distant glitter of stars, Elena knew the Council's reach was deep, but so was human resolve. She turned and whispered, "We will unmask every traitor," she said firmly, "and we will stand together. No matter the cost," she added. The Horizon's engines roared as the ship powered up for the jump. Elena watched determined, knowing the battle ahead would test them all. But she was ready to face the betrayer's mask and tear it away, for the future of humanity and the truth they would carry into the stars. Commander Elena Maris stood on the bridge as the Horizon and its convoy approached the swirling colors of the wormhole. The nebula ahead glowed with green and purple light, hiding the gate that could take them to safety. Elena felt her heart race inside her chest. The countdown to jump was critical. Council dreadnoughts appeared on every scanner, their dark shapes closing in fast. They formed a ring around the wormhole, ready to trap the fleet. Asha pointed at the nav display. "We can enter the gate in 4 minutes, ma'am, if we hold course," she said. "But the Council ships will reach firing range in 3, she added, worry in her voice. Elena clenched her fists and pressed her lips together. She knew they could not outrun the dreadnoughts in straight space. She turned to Lieutenant Jiro. "What is our shield status?" she asked calmly. Jiro tapped the console. "Shields at 80%. We can sustain 2 hits, maybe 3, he answered, Sergeant. Mallet checked the weapons array and reported. "Our guns can fire 1 burst per cycle. We might down 1 ship each volley," he said. Elena nodded and took a deep breath. She knew they needed a plan that balanced speed, firepower, and sacrifice. She strode to the holomap and tapped a point between the biggest dreadnoughts. All ships, she spoke into the com, split into 2 groups. Lead group follows the horizon into the gate. Rear group holds the line, she said, in the hangar bay. Transports and escorts divided. The lead group's engines flared brighter, eager to jump. The rear group angled outward, ready to engage. Elena returned to her chair and spoke softly. We buy 4 minutes of fire. Then we run, she said. Asha and Jiro exchanged nods outside the viewport. Council dreadnoughts glowed like dark suns. Their heavy guns turned toward the convoy. The distance closed by the second. Elena pressed her palm to the control console, channeling every thought into action. She spoke to the entire fleet, voice calm and steady. Hold formation. When the countdown reaches 0, lead group, accelerate and jump. Rear group, fall back slowly and fire on their flanks, she said. Asha tapped the timer. 3 minutes, she whispered. Elena stared at the wormhole's edge, trembling with tension. The horizon and the lead escorts surged forward, weaving through plasma storms. Behind them, the transports clung tightly to formation. The rear group veered off, heavy weapons lighting up the darkness. A council dreadnought slammed a beam into the lead group. One escort crumpled like metal paper. Alarms howled across the fleet. Elena's cheeks burned with the sight of destruction. She hit the com. Rear group, concentrate fire on the central ship. Break their line, she ordered. Sergeant Malik responded, voice firm. They opened up with plasma rifles, turrets spinning. Green bolts struck the dreadnought's shields, leaving bright scars. Asha called out. 2 minutes left. Elena clenched her teeth. She watched the shattered escort drift away. She thought of the families aboard, safe now because others stood their ground. She turned to Jiro. Send this feed to every ship. You are heroes. We carry your courage into the tunnel, she said. Jiro nodded and broadcast. Messages of hope rippled through the convoy. Engines flared brighter. Shields hummed louder. The council ships adjusted their formation. They tried to outflank the rear group. Elena's gut twisted with dread. Asha tapped the countdown. 1 minute, she said. Voice barely above a whisper. Elena steadied herself. She felt the weight of her decision. 2 groups meant a choice. Sacrifice the rear or risk the lead. She made her call. We proceed, she said. Voice calm. Asha nodded and keyed the jump sequence. Engines on the horizon roared to life. The lead escorts dropped their shields and surged forward. At the rear, transports turned to face the dreadnoughts. Their crews readied defenses. They would face the storm so others could live. 30 seconds left. Council beams lit up the void. 2 dreadnoughts fired in unison. One escort exploded in a flash of blue. Elena whispered. Now, she said. The horizons. Hull shimmered as it passed the event horizon of the wormhole. Lead escorts vanished one by one into the light. On the bridge, alarms faded. Replaced by silence and relief, Asha exhaled. Jump successful, she said. Elena looked back at the empty station behind them. She thought of the rear group still bound to fight. She touched the holoscreen. In her heart, she swore an oath. We will return for you, she said. Beyond the wormhole, stars beckoned with new promise. Elena Maris closed her eyes. She felt both triumph and sorrow. The journey was not over. The cost was high, but humanity's spirit burned strong. She gathered her crew and set her sights on the next world, forging onward with hope, determination, and the promise of rescue. The horizon and the human fleet emerged from the wormhole into a turbulent star field, the glow of a nearby gas giant painting the ships in green light. Commander Elena Maris gripped the rail on the bridge as she watched the jump gate fall behind them. Vivid splinters of blue energy fading into space. The convoy held close, transports and escorts in tight formation. But the council dreadnoughts did not follow through the jump. They waited beyond the event horizon. Ready to strike, Elena felt a chill. She knew the worst was yet to come. "Report," she said to Lieutenant Jiro, his fingers dancing over the console. "Sensors show 3 dreadnoughts exiting the jump next." "They move fast," he said. Alina nodded, her mind racing. "Sergeant Malik, ready the gun crews." "We must protect the convoy as they pass through the gate," she ordered. Voice firm, Malik saluted. "Gun decks manned, shields at 70%. "We will hold them off," he said. A shot pointed at the holomap. "The gate is 50,000 kilometers away. The convoy will reach it in 2 minutes," she said. Elena turned to Jiro. "Send the order. All ships on red alert." "Brace for battle," she said. A loud tone pulsed through the ship as the message went out. Engines hummed louder. Crew braced at their stations, outside. Council dreadnoughts materialized in a ring around the convoy, their dark hulls like black stars against the nebula. The first dreadnought opened fire, a beam of energy slashing toward the transports. Elena watched the shield barriers shimmer under the blast. "They aim for the transports," she shouted. "Focus fire on the lead dreadnought." Gunners on the horizon swung turrets into position, green plasma bolts streaking toward the enemy. The first volley hit the dreadnought's shields, sparks flying, but the enemy held its line. "Keep firing," Elena urged. Below deck, crew members cheered each hit, but the second dreadnought fired back, its beam tearing through an escort ship. Elena watched the small ship break apart in a burst of light. Her chest tightened at each loss, shields dropping to 50%. Malik reported, voice tense. Elena met his eyes. "Hold them." "We must hold them until the convoy is clear," she said. The convoy edged toward the gate, the transports glowing at their engines. Hope and fear mixed in the green sky. Asha called. "Out. 30 seconds to the gate," she said. Elena took a deep breath. "All ships, fire all weapons on my mark now," she said. Gunners unleashed a coordinated barrage, plasma bolts and missiles streaking toward each dreadnought. The first ship shuddered as explosions rippled across its hull, alarms ringing. Fire crews inside the dreadnought fought to contain the damage, but the hit slowed its advance. Another escort joined the fight, flanking the enemy. Elena smiled at their courage. "Excellent work," she whispered. The convoy drew closer to the gate, the metal ring looming ahead like the mouth of a tunnel. Jiro tapped his console. 10 seconds, he said. Elena stepped forward, voice steady. "On my mark 4. 3, 2, 1, mark," she counted. The Horizon and the lead escorts powered up their jump drives, hulls shimmering. "Jump sequence initiated," Asha called, one by one. The Horizon and its escorts vanished into the wormhole. The transports heated their engines and surged forward. Following their protectors, only the rear group remained, the remaining escorts and support ships. They held position just outside the gate, shields flaring brightly. The Council dreadnoughts turned their guns on the rear group. Malik activated the ship-wide comm. All rear ships prepare to cover the exit. Fire on their flanks, he shouted. Small frigates and corvettes opened fire from both sides, plasma streaks cutting across space. Elena's heart pounded as she watched the small ships lock shields around the transports. Shields at 30%. Asha warned. A dreadnought beam struck a corvette, glancing off its shields with a roar of energy. "They are pushing through," Elena said. A flash of light returned as one dreadnought's engines gave out under sustained attack. It spun out of control, hull burning. Malik cheered quietly. "1 down, 2 to go," he said. But the last 2 dreadnoughts focused their fire on the transports. A beam hit a support ship, tearing its hull apart. Elena winced. "Evacuation scramble," she ordered. Transport crews brought damaged ships beside the Horizon's jump path. Shuttles carried survivors from burning hulls to safety. Elena pressed her hand to the holoscreen near the gate. She whispered, "Come on." The transports flooded. Through the ring of light, their hulls shimmered and disappeared. The dreadnoughts fired again, but the gate pulsed. Transports vanished one by one. Only the horizon's shields held back enemy fire. Jiro steadied himself, voice calm. 2 ships. Left. They will clear the gate now, he said. Elena's chest tautened as the last corvette limped toward the gate. She caught sight of her friend, Lieutenant Vega, piloting the small ship. Vega's shields flickered, but the corvette held steady. Go. Vega! Elena whispered. Vega lifted her hand in salute, then surged forward into the gate. The wormhole pulsed and swallowed the last ship. The horizon's cloak flickered. Elena turned to the battle behind them. The last dreadnought aimed its guns at the horizon. Hold your ground. She shouted. Gunners returned fire as the horizon slipped toward the ring. Engines roared. Then the horizon's jump drive activated. A bright flash engulfed the ship, and in an instant, they were through. Silence fell on the bridge. The holoscreen showed empty space beyond. Elena exhaled. Tears pricked her eyes. She whispered, "They made it." Jiro nodded. Voice quiet. "All convoys are safe. Casualties are high, but they are alive," he said. Elena looked at the empty ring of the gate. She thought of the brave souls who held the line. Her voice came soft over the comm. "To the rear guard, your sacrifice saved us all. We will honor you," she said. The bridge crew bowed their heads. Elena stood tall, hope and resolve shining in her eyes. They would return one day, but for now, humanity had won this battle at the gate.